life fixers. Hope you're having an awesome day. Are you ready to better understand yourself, your partner, and your marriage? You will on today's episode. As soon as you hear something in this episode that you like and you think someone else could benefit from it, press the share button and share it with them. So that way you don't forget, life doesn't get busy, and you actually go and help them while you're listening to this podcast. And you're helping us reach our goal of 1 million downloads per episode. Now, for today's guest, we have the author of Charm Like a Narcissist, Ibrahim Dar. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to be speaking with you. And you just shared with me something super exciting that I think the rest of the audience should hear too, that you're getting married on the 26th of this month, which is going to be after this is recorded, guys. So I'm not even telling you which month this is in. No, I'm kidding. We're right now in September. But you're going to hear this once he's already married. So tell me about that relationship. I am super curious. How did you guys meet? How long have you been together? Let's go.
I told you about this just because, it's a personal thing, but this is the first time I'm telling someone on a podcast about it.
I ask really personal questions.
No.
Warning, you don't have to answer what you don't want to answer.
No. I told you this specifically because I knew that would be your exact reaction. And now this is going to make the actual story much funnier because it's an arranged marriage.
Okay.
So as a Pakistani, this is how arranged marriages work, right? My parents show me a picture of a girl and they're like, do you want to spend the next 25 years with this woman? And you obviously go like, well, I've not spent 25 years with myself. I'm just 24. And then they're like, well, how about you just judge her by the looks and then hope for the best? And fortunately, because I'm a shallow person, it worked. I was like, okay, you know what? She's pretty enough. Whatever she is like in person, I'll put up with it. And guys can be like that. So it's just that I'm self-aware. So I'm like, okay, I'll bite the bullet. I'll take a chance. But what's surprising actually is that she too was okaying me, because what she saw too were just images. And you can see here, it's not all that, confidence inspiring in terms of just looking at my face, right? Brad Pitt makes sense. George Clooney, maybe a few years ago, but me, absolutely not. And when we started talking, then I asked her, I was like, why did you agree? And she said, well, I saw your videos online. And I was like, okay, that's one way to make that decision. But I believe now that it's been a year, we've gotten to know each other, and fortunately, things work well now. I just believe that from the perspective of someone who got matched, well, I actually rejected over 80 pictures put
80,
in front
like
of my
80
face.
or 18?
80.
Oh, wow.
Across 3 years, right? Is like my mom was working full time, just looking at matches, right? As the ultimate, most persistent wing woman, if you will, right? She kept showing them to me, and I also had the option to like date and bring someone home, but I literally was just so busy building a business that I just didn't focus on it. And I was like, okay, I'm not interested in relationships at all right now. I'll just build my business, and whatever she brings, I'll just keep rejecting. And I did that, right? I was like, okay, no, but you keep looking. If I find someone, I'll say yes. But in my heart, I was like, just no. Whoever it is, I'm just going to keep saying no, because like, I just don't want to do this whole thing right now. And then out of all of those, she just brings in a picture that catches me by surprise, because I thought I wasn't ready for marriage. And it turns out you're not ready until you're like, oh my God, maybe I am ready. So she shows me this picture, and I was like, you know what? Okay, you know what? Let's start talking and let's see where it goes. And where it went is that we're going to get married on 26th. But to connect with someone who you don't know anything about, and then to have to make it work, you learn a lot. You learn a lot on how to make things work, because you always have the option to make things not work. But if you choose that, it's irreversible. With relationships, you can have your fights and you can have your breakups and you can have your on and offs. But with an arranged marriage, if it's off for real. So, having to like make things work and make things work not just so that it's a good arranged marriage, but to make things work so well that it's better than any love marriage could have been. That's the secret. It all comes down amplifying what you appreciate about each other.
So what was the biggest thing, the number one thing that you learned from this entire process? Like in getting to know her over the course of the past year?
I learned that it's basically nothing you can do to change another person in any way. So your only options are to either choose someone who fits a very specific mold of perfectness. That was weird emphasis. Perfectness.
I don't know. What would be even? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfection, but I like perfectness.
Perfectness. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. So it's you've either gotta go seek someone who really fits that mold, or your second option is to take someone and force them into that mold, and that's quite literally impossible. You cannot change people. Or the third is to have that mold be vague enough that whoever you connect with genuinely, you can then build your idea of perfection based on that. Many of us have our ideas of perfection based on the first partner or the second or the third. It's like we pick up what we like about each, and we just keep building this mental amalgamation of what the perfect one is. And it just keeps getting more specific, which just brings down the odds of someone who fits all of that already and comes into your life. So that only leaves you with the next option, that is, just whoever is perfect enough, take them and then try to force them to be that perfect. Like try to just change this thing or that thing. And I just got this confirmation of one thing that I did right. And that was basically that I literally had zero image of what it was all going to be. So I formed that idea. So basically, it's just like I don't make molds. I have zero structural expectations of this interview right now, right? And literally, if the interview was for every answer I give, your next question is literally you coughing into the mic, I'd be like, well, that's what this podcast is like. So I literally come in with no expectations. So I'm not forcing you into a format, for example. I'm not forcing you to talk about my book, Charm Like a Narcissist, available on
We're
Amazon.
Getting to it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm just kidding.
Don't say you're not forcing. You're finding a way how to stick it in without pretending that you're not talking about it. And now I noticed those signs already. I consider that already passive aggressive.
No.
Fun of you. I'm just making fun.
Okay, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you a really interesting thing. So for this podcast, so what has happened is they're shopping for the whole tribe shops. So I'm based in Dubai, right? I come to Pakistan for this wedding, and it's a cultural shock from my own culture. Like this is my culture. I'm a Pakistani, but I was born and brought up in Dubai, right? I come here. It turns out here, your whole tribe goes shopping. Just like you go, your grandma goes, her boyfriend goes, like everyone just goes. And that means right now at my apartment, I have my nephew who is a child. Because a lot of nephews are children, right? When they grow up, you just call them by their name. So I got a babysitter for the interview. And here's where I messed up, where I actually hired the interviewer, hired the babysitter based on UAE time, and the interview was based on Pakistan time on my schedule. So what happened is that right now there's no babysitter for my for my nephew, and but an hour ago I was there to take care of my nephew, and so was a babysitter. So babysitter arrives and they're like, "I'm here for 1 hour, 1 hour," and I'm like, "I need you after 1 hour," and they're like, "No, I'm already booked." I'm like, "Okay, I'll pay you 100 extra for the next hour." And then she's like, "Are you really putting $100 value on another child's safety? Because I'm booked to take care of someone else." I was like, "I'm not putting a dollar value on another kid's safety, but if I were, what would that amount look like?"
That's a scary question.
and no, but
an answer for that one.
No, I got an answer
for a human being's life.
Well, according to the babysitter, it's 100,000. Like, if I'm willing to give her 100,000, she'll abandon that kid and take care of my nephew. And I was like,
I hope there's a different replacement for that or something else, because
I was like, well, to be honest, even I'm not even sure about my nephew being worth 100,000. So you know what? I'm not going to take that deal. So my nephew's in another room playing by himself while I'm recording this podcast. Irresponsible Uncle 101.
I was about to say, you're a really good uncle.
That's podcast title idea. Okay, so what are we talking about?
Okay, so first off, just to like put these out for my next question, because my mom's Israeli and I go to Israel all the time there. And so I'm curious to know.
Do you know Krav Maga? Do you know Krav Maga?
Do I not what?
Do you know Krav Maga?
Krav Maga. No, I don't.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's the only cool thing about Israel that I know.
I'm not Israeli, but he lives with, like, he always lives there, or he usually lives with you in the EU. The EU. And UAE. There's my brain going.
Who by he you mean my nephew?
Yeah, your nephew.
No. He's here just because we're all shopping.
Oh, so all your family's here for your whole wedding, and
yeah. And they left to shop for some other stuff. That's like all the ladies what they'll wear. So they're out there doing their lady shopping.
All the dancing and
yeah.
Okay. So now, first of all, it's like proves how much you're into your business by you recording this now and like right before.
Yeah. Look, dude, 26th. I'm buying my wedding clothes now because I was focusing on my business. So yeah, it's but here's the interesting thing. Literally before every single interview, the girl texts me, "Hey, all the best." And after the interview, she's like, "How was it?" And to have someone as supportive, not by luck, it's by dialogue. It's like conversations, explanations, understanding. It's like, because she came in as someone who wants to build her different practice, and then her understanding that I can help her do that if I can do this more. That's something that you don't get to do if you do not know how to have that kind of a social connection, those interpersonal skills, that communication with your partner. It's so important, because the easiest thing to do is to be passive aggressive. She could have done it, I could have done it, and then guess what? She did it, and then I did it, and now we're communicating, and it's so much better. It's just so much better because I support her more and she supports me in doing this, like literally in my wedding month, just doing this.
Did you speak about that specifically, or that was just something that, because you said like not by luck. So my question is if like you actually had to work through that, or you both had it already in you?
Oh, no. We had to have dialogues. We had to have conversations about boundaries, about work, about relationship, about time owed, about all of those things. We had to have those conversations. Literally, no way, no person will come plugged into your lifestyle, and then you cannot force it onto them. She is a night owl, okay? And I literally wake up at 4 a.m. and she stays awake till 4 a.m. You understand? So like you can understand how the particular, like she's very sentimental about different dates, different days, all of that stuff, right? I literally didn't know my birthday until 2010, which is a long way since I was born. Because if I was born in 2010, I'd be around like 11 years old, which I clearly am not. If you
I'm
look
glad
at
you're
my
not getting
beard,
married at
right?
11 years old.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Good point. Good point. Hey, your Zoom name here is it sounds like that luxury brand. What's your whole name, by the way?
My real name is exactly just like it says on Zoom. ST, like the letters S and T. So it's
So
short from
your
ST.
name is ST ESTY. Is that how it's spelled?
Yeah. How do you know?
I mean, if it said ST, then that's so.
But I
So
spell
okay,
it SD. Everyone knows me as SNT. Going back to
okay,
2010. Yeah. When I was something about that age,
yeah,
then I was like, okay,
yeah.
too long for me. I'm
Because
cutting it down.
otherwise it sounds like an anagram for Etsy.
Etsy or like or I get a lot of street or saint or something of that sort because
Oh yeah. Because it's ST. Yeah, you know, there's that luxury brand ST Dupont. I think Saint Dupont. It just keeps reminding me of that. So, do you know how you got your name?
my name I'm named after my great grandmother.
Ah, okay.
How about you?
See, that's good. You know what? I'm gonna name my kid after my grandfather, so I don't have to explain it. It's like chicken or the egg. You just roll it back a generation. Now
No, my
go.
name is a story, not for now, but like, oh, it wasn't meant to be that name. It was that name.
Okay. No, but the thing is, it's like ask my grandma what it means. You know. So I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna name him after like the last name I know in our lineage. I'll just go to my great grandfather, name him that, and then be like, now I don't have to explain anything else. I just have to point at an old dead man. Hey, speaking of dead men, I'll tell you something because we've been talking about marriage, right? My grandma, right? She was on her deathbed, and she tells my brother, she's like, look, I'm about to die, and my dying wish is to see you get married. And my brother is such a sentimental, guy. He's like, okay. And then the girl he was engaged to, he married her, even though he didn't have a job. Like he just got married when he just had graduated his medical school, right? Just because my grandma was dying. And then he got married. And the next day, she's perfectly fine. Next day. It's like you could have the decency to take a few days to get better, right? You strong armed a guy into getting married, and next day she's like, oh, so where are you guys going for your honeymoon? Like, and basically here when you go for your honeymoon, you usually take a few family members and they just go and they chill around, and you go and you get your hotel or whatever.
What's the reason for that?
Oh, it's because like you're taking a big car, so might as well take like a few. It's usually a domestic thing, and because Pakistan has so many beautiful places. But here's an interesting thing. This is a tradition I'm about to break. I'm gonna be like,
Rule
but
breakers.
anyway,
I love it. Yeah, what do you use it?
So my grandma, right? She's like, oh, so where are you going for your honeymoon? Maybe I can travel. It's like I'm travel ready now. So after about 2 years after that, she was again on her deathbed, and she's like, Ibrahim, my dying wish. I was like, no, I'm not listening. No, your dying wish has already been fulfilled. you you have my permission to stop acting, to get fine. And actually she got better after that.
Oh, that's good. So she has a thing. So I'm waiting to see what's going to happen the day after your wedding. If your grandmother got better after that, there's going to be something else major happening the day after your wedding.
No, she got better, and
I know,
then
but I'm saying
she
now maybe
eventually
something
did
else. I
die.
don't know what other good surprises you'll have.
No. She eventually did die.
Oh, she did die eventually. Okay, afterwards. But now you're
one
saying
of
about
the-
rule breaker.
one
What are
of
you doing differently for your honeymoon?
So one of the best deaths, by the way, actually, because her kids are like in 3 different countries, and all of them got to convene at her actual deathbed. And I was like, well, that looks like a deathbed. Now we know it's happening, because her kids knew it as well. Like, her kids weren't like, oh, it's one of those things. They actually flew in. She was there. She talked to all of them. She held her daughter's hand. She was talking to all of them. She's like, okay, I'm going to sleep now. And then she slept, and then everyone knew that was coming. And basically, she died in her sleep. Most like dramatic, positive end to life things I've seen in my whole life. Like, she literally died like as if somebody wrote it in a movie, like surrounded by her kids around, and then holding one of her kids and at peace, talking to all of them, saying, thank you all for coming. This makes me so happy that all of you are here. All of you have come together. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to sleep. And then she slept, and she didn't wake up. And wow, it was so beautiful. And I was like, if I want to go, I want to go like that. But my habits and my lifestyle dictate otherwise. Because, dude, I use so much sugar-free sweetener, like, and they say it causes cancer. But because if I use sugar, dude, I'm gonna get fat, because I used to be fat, and because of sugar. So I stopped having sugar, and now I am much slimmer, right? I lost 80 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Because yeah, in 5 months, because I left sugar. So now I don't want to take on sugar, but I don't want to give up sweets. So I have so much sugar-free sweetener, and usually if you have too much, you get cancer, they say. And to anyone who says that, I basically just say, well, at least my corpse will be smart, will be slim.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Okay, so just tell me. I want to get to your book, but just tell me quickly what you were going to say about you're doing something different for your honeymoon.
So what I'm doing different for my honeymoon is we're gonna do a 6-month long honeymoon. We're literally just gonna go to a different country for every month, and it will be a honeymoon. Plus, it will be a base finding mission, because we'll see where we want to settle, because I can do my confidence coaching business from anywhere in the world. You see how I subtly plugged in what I do? And I can also do
I'm noticing it all. I noticed from the beginning when we started how you told me to count to 10 and counting all of it.
And I can also manage my ghostwriting business from anywhere in the world. So that means, why not me and her decide collectively where we want to settle? So you see, I don't even have a where I'm gonna build the next stage in my life. I don't have that in my mind, just because the person who comes in, I don't want to shoehorn them into my idea. And because I refuse to do that one thing, everything in my relationship works for the better, even though on the surface level, it's the worst idea. It's the worst idea to do what is effectively a Tinder look, a Tinder swipe with the stakes of a marriage, right? You see a picture and you decide. It's an even worse idea in a year to then have the marriage, to have it happen in a year. And an even worse one to do it in the middle of a pandemic. In that not everyone is going to be able to attend. There will be fewer guests because of SOPs. So some people will be left off the guest list, and they're going to be mad, and all of those things, and that drama that seeps into your relationship, to allow that to happen in the first year of your relationship, all of it on surface level should not work. Your listeners, their relationships and marriages should on paper work on different levels. Okay, mine shouldn't even work, but only one thing is saving it. And what's that one thing? I refuse to force my partner into whatever my idea of the right thing is. Even though my instincts, in some instances, my instincts, every fiber of my being is like, this is what you should be doing. I was like, no, even though it's my instinct, I refuse. I take a stand. I refuse to let that happen. I'm not gonna push her into my idea of whatever. And that's why she can afford to love me enough to want to do whatever I want. She knows that that decision to love me enough to blindly follow whatever I say, to be that devoted to me, isn't a risk, because I will not use that to make her something that is my preconceived idea. Many partners, and again, I too can do that with her. I'm like, if I blindly follow whatever she says she wants, I am not at risk, because she will think for me that, oh, I should not be asking this of him because this is bad for him. So that level of trust comes when we decide to stand between our wrong instincts and our partner's well-being. We have instincts like anger, knee-jerk reactions, taking things too personally, wanting to fit people into different molds. We have those. We all have those. These instincts are enemies of our relationship, but you can choose to side with one at one time. You can choose to stand by your worst instincts or by your partner, even though your instincts are against them.
Yes. Yeah. That's very well said. Very well said. Okay. So let's go to your book. I'm curious. First of all, how did you get involved in this whole like coaching concept and specifically in what you do of teaching people to charm?
So basically, what happened was I own a ghostwriting business, which started as me being a ghostwriter, and I picked a specific niche, which is rich people telling their life story. So I literally work with millionaires and some still slightly below millionaires who just have a little inflated value evaluations. They do those things where an asset worth 100,000 suddenly is worth 120,000, one of those things, but really close to the millionaire mark. And I write their biographies. And when we have our interviews, our conversations, where I am not the one doing as much talking as I am today, I get a lot of information out and we have conversations. They all end their calls, most of them end their calls by complimenting me on my charisma. And then I once had a guest who had the personality of a washing machine. Really, it's like literally no personality, but the guy had muscles, and actually, like, that kind of makes sense because perhaps his personality was having muscles. But I told him, like, dude, listen, you just complimented me on my charm. What if for just $100 I teach you how you can be a little more charismatic? And he's like, okay, sure. So I taught him what, like 4 hours it took, like throughout the month, because 1 hour a week. And my starting rate was $100 for the whole month. So yeah, because I was testing the service, I had to price it really low. Dude goes out, brings me 3 more clients and his friends and so on. And that's how it started, just clients bringing other clients. But it was just that one thing. I was like, oh, I can really help this person, but if I'm not making $25 for the hour, I'm losing money. So I have to literally, just to make sense of doing anything, I have to at least make $25 from it. So I was like, okay, dude, that's the bare minimum. let's do this. And that was it. That's how it started. And then it just spread. And then because I've been writing books for everyone, and I also wanted an excuse to have a photo of me being groped by three women. I wanted to have that photo, and now just having that photo would be too narcissistic. So I wrote a whole book to justify that photo, and now I have that with me.
What does your future wife think of that photo?
She allegedly likes it a lot. No, she actually likes it. She's like, it looks good. And she actually likes whenever like other girls like kind of swoon over me. So it's like, okay, works.
Okay.
Win-win.
Okay. So tell us, so what is your like top 2 tricks for someone to become more charismatic, specifically how to help them like in their marriage?
Okay, so charisma is someone who you think is special making you feel special. Okay, someone who you think is special making you feel special. So in a relationship, the most special you can seem is to take on the role of a freedom giver. Culturally, relationships have always been about restrictions, different levels of restrictions in different cultures. But even like if you get into a monogamous relationship, it's a restriction to not see other people. And then if you get into even a polygamous relationship, there are restrictions of I've got to know this and this can go to this extent. Relationships have been about so much about restriction that it literally just being different, being special is literally being different in a positive way. And if you can adopt the role of the freedom giver in your relationship, you instantly stand out from every other husband in the world, every other wife in the world, every other girlfriend in the world, every other boyfriend in the world. Okay. So adopt the role of freedom giver. So ask yourself, what would a freedom giver do in this situation, and do that. And it usually comes down a lot more to like live and let live kind of thing, but it's a lot more than that. It's a conscious choice to adopt the role of a freedom provider. And that literally makes you the most special boyfriend in the world, because you're the top 1%, most special girlfriend in the world, because you're literally among the top 1%. uh, and just standing out in that positive way makes you special. And then when you treat your partner as if they are special, they are charmed. They'll swoon over you as if they're talking to a rock star, as if you're a celebrity. You just try it. But it's easier said than done. I understand, because dude, it's an exercise in trust. And who grows to the age of your listener base, right? 20 years or over, right? Basically, what I'm saying is everyone who's 19 or under, this podcast is not for you. Nah, just kidding. What I'm saying is average listeners are 20 or so. You don't get to that age without getting some trust issues, without developing some of them, righteously so. But you have to make the conscious choice that this one person, I'm not going to have trust issues with this one person. This is the safe person. This is the person I can afford to blindly give freedoms to, and they will not screw me over. Because if you cannot do that with this person, then why are you even in a relationship with them? So, once again, just to recap, the first thing you have to do is adopt the role of a freedom provider. And the second thing that you have to do is you have to treat them as if they are special. Because when you adopt the role of a freedom provider, you seem special. They think you are special. And then when you treat them as if they are special, they are charmed by you. Don't seem too bothered by anything not being a specific way. That makes you seem so above it all that it gives you the star aura. It gives you that stardom, celebrity aura, even in something as intimate as a personal relationship.
Exactly why, and going
Oh
back to
my
what you were
God.
saying in the beginning of no mold, of not having any expectations, just being that freedom provider has to go. It's not having any expectations.
Yeah. I mean, you can have expectations, but expectations should be vague. Oh, I'll be happy. I'll have fun. I'll be this level of in love. Like those expectations, amazing. But I'll be happy in this specific way. Just imagine someone actually thought I will be happy because I will open up a brick and mortar store that does this. And then Corona was like, dude, just go home and just live your life on the internet. So the more specific you get, the more you have to force just even nature and life itself to happen a certain way for you to be happy.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what is like the psychology behind being a freedom provider makes you look special?
Oh, basically, as I said, being special is literally just being different in a way that is positive. So you could literally be one of the biggest control freaks and you would seem different, but you wouldn't be special because there are a lot of people who do that. Negative stuff is easier to do. So a lot of control freaks, very few freedom providers. And what that means is when you do something very few people are doing, something that people want you to do, you seem special, but you can do anything else. Just think, brainstorm, what other ways can I stand out that are positive, and then do that. It's just
So the
simple.
point isn't really for you to be the freedom provider. That's an example, an easy way you're telling, not easy way, but easier way you're telling
Yeah,
people to
that's
look
my way.
special.
That's how I'm personally, that's how I am choosing to be special. Because even culturally, like Pakistani men, Pakistani women, the Pakistani culture, there are a lot of inherent restrictions that I'm just going in with paying zero heed to. Like,
Like your
please don't
6 month
exist.
honeymoon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am personally choosing that because that's my way of standing out in my culture in a way that is positive. So that then makes me feel seem special. What makes me feel special is just existing because I'm a full blown narcissist. Just kidding. But what makes me seem special is that I'm standing out in that way and standing out in a way that's positive, right? You could literally refuse to shower for a month and you'd stand out, but not in a positive way.
Right.
So you have to, so literally you can brainstorm different ways in your relationship in which you can stand apart from other boyfriends, other girlfriends, other uh, exes, other general boyfriends within your culture, within your country, other husbands within your culture, within your country. How can you stand apart in a way that is special? My personal way of doing that is just to be a freedom provider because that is so universal. Universally, freedom providers, people who are like, hey, I literally don't care if you do things that I want, if you don't do things that I'd rather you do. It's just such a hard thing to say, but if you say it, you're truly among the people, like the kind of people everyone wants to be in a relationship with.
Yeah. So that's the first one. And the second part is treating them and making them feel special. Now,
Yeah.
what do you suggest for that?
Okay, but before that, I'm just going to say a lot of people become doormats. They make other people feel special before they establish themselves as a respectable individual within their relationship. And then they become these people pleasers, do this, and they become chasers, and then they become doormats. So please, if your relationship you feel like you don't have a voice, I urge you to first stop pleasing people, stop chasing your partner's approval, stop trying to make them happy. If it's not making you happy, just stop doing it. You have to establish yourself as special first, and then you have the permission to make others feel special. Because if you straight up start chasing their approval, start trying to make them feel special, then you just become an ego boost. Not,
Yeah.
oh yeah, not Mr. Superstar.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, but how do you actually make them feel special?
Oh, make them feel special. There's a lot of ways to make them feel special, but it's basically your partner sees someone else do to someone and then goes, wow. And this could be in movies, this could be outside. You have to listen to someone other than Ibrahim Dar. You have to listen to your specific person. See what
Yes.
actually, because not just love languages, I still feel like love languages shoehorn people into like 5 or 6 things. Well, 5 love languages, so it's five. I think it's even more specific. So listen to that one person, listen to that one soul, and see what would make them feel special. And generally, because you truly feel like this person is special enough to give your time to, so you literally just treat them with that level. It's already built in. With strangers, it's like remember their name. One of those things. You can do all of that stuff. Remember their name, have conversations about what they do at length, all of that stuff. Compliment them. But within your relationship, it's automated. You actually treat them as if they're special when you're not busy thinking about yourself, right? It's only when you're like, me, but this is unfair to me. This is me. That's when you forget that this is the person you truly believe is special. So once you let go of this me, and you treat them as if they're special, it comes back. It comes back. Karma works the best, if in anything, in a relationship.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Oh, yes. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So before we get to our final question, where could life fixers connect with you and learn more about you?
So the moment my accountant brought me the numbers and I learned that he brought it as good news that I had made from all my social media $110 in 3 months. I got so mad. I literally just stopped with social media. I was like, this is doing nothing for me. I literally get money from clients talking to clients. So why do I even need to put up all of this social media? I took my connections offline, and I literally have friends offline. I travel, make friends offline. I write letters. But the only digital thing really I have is like I talk on podcasts. So people like you. And then I have my email list. I send out like every other day. And it typically, I'll give you they go to imibrahim.com. It's like 100 words. It's my thoughts on there, and if they hit subscribe there, they send their email. I will first of all send them a copy of like a narcissist, a digital copy for free, because I've sold more than 1,000 paperbacks. That was my goal, so I'm not selling the book anymore. I mean, they can buy it on Amazon if they like, but the digital copy, a free version of it, they'll get if they go to imibrahim.com and fill up the form on subscribe page. And I'll also give it to you for show notes. They'll get that. And then if they like the hardcover enough, that picture of me being groped by 3 women enough to actually order a physical copy, they're free to do so. But really, it's not even like 1% of my income source. So I'm not even focused on that. What I'm focused on is people like you who are trying to have interesting dialogues, people who would like to take this message further.
Awesome. Okay. So for our final question, how would you describe an extraordinary relationship without using love, trust, or charm, charisma?
Okay, so I'm gonna take a minute to think about it, and then you're gonna have your editor cut the minute out so I look like a genius. Just kidding. Okay, look. How would I describe the perfect relationship? So, see, I started my thing as a copywriter, like my career. So yeah, I'm gonna just whip it up in an instant.
No pressure. Everyone takes their time to think.
Okay. The perfect relationship, more you, less me.
More you, less me. Really, really good. Awesome. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Ibrahim. It was so much fun speaking to you and getting to learn about you and about your marriage that's hopefully really, really soon. Not hopefully, is be really, really soon.
I know.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's all for this episode of the Life Picks University podcast, but I have a huge favor to ask of you that will not only support the show, but will also help the people you love most. We are striving for 1 million downloads by the end of 2025, and we can't do this without your help. If you love this episode, please share it with 2 of your family and friends so they too can rewire their brains to have an extraordinary marriage. It was awesome spending time with you, and I'll see you on the next episode.